What's going on, Collider Games fans? I'm Caboose, and well, today I just got my hands on real quick with Borderlands 3, and now I'm going to talk with somebody who's worked on the game. So why don't you introduce yourselves to the fans out there?
So I'm Anthony Nicholson, and I'm a senior producer on Borderlands 3.
Cool. So you've had your hand in a lot of the workings of the game then.
Yeah, so I kind of get to dabble in touching all the different departments and helping oversee a lot of the development that goes on throughout the process.
Awesome. I'm going to ask you a couple questions because I did get my hands on the game. I'm a lifelong Borderlands fan since, it's 10 years ago, almost 10 years, from Borderlands 1 to now. It's been the first game, I'd say, where I really sunk my teeth into a game. So I want to thank you guys for the franchise, first of all.
Thank you.
Yeah. And I wanted to thank you guys for Borderlands 3 because I loved every minute of what I got to play.
That's so awesome.
What I wanted to start off with, because I think a lot of people out there can agree, with Borderlands 2, you guys struck gold with Handsome Jack. He's one of the best video game villains of all time. So following that, now you got the Calypso twins in Borderlands 3. What was the task there? Was there a challenge to really, was it a little daunting to go with the Calypso twins after you guys had such huge success with Handsome Jack?
So it's actually a commonly asked question, right? Like, we know how much people love Handsome Jack, right? So what we want to do with that is take the things that people loved about Handsome Jack, like the motives and the way that they are, and try to put them in a different light, with different people, different motives, different understanding. Like, Handsome Jack was very sure of himself and kind of taunting at the player and doing things like that, and he had his own motives. So what we have here is the Calypso twins. They're kind of dynamic. They go back and forth with each other, and they kind of they taunt the players like kind of influencers and media, and they have the things that they try to do to get in under the Vault Hunter's skin and get them out of the way so that they can succeed in their goal of opening as many vaults as they can.
That sounds awesome. I mean, the little snippets that we got in the gameplay was really great, and as a content creator, it's funny to see that they're essentially streamers, and they taunt you in that way. I thought that was awesome. I love that. So from a gameplay perspective, I've noticed that there's a lot of quality of life improvements, things like the ability to kind of clamber up on a ledge if you miss a jump. Can you explain, looking back, if you take a step back from Borderlands 1, 2, and the pre-sequel, what was important when it came to those quality of life fixes that you needed to implement into Borderlands 3?
So really what it was is we wanted to take everything that we knew that was great about those games in the franchise and kind of build on that foundation. We look at what we have, we look at what we've been really good at doing, and kind of expand on those things. So kind of like what you were mentioning, we did the same thing with loot instancing, right? So as Paul talked about on stage, now you don't really have to fight for stuff if you don't want to. We have the option to play in classic mode if you like to, but now whenever you jump into the game, whether your friend has been playing 150 hours and you've only been playing 5 hours, you can jump into the game with each other and still be on the same page, and the enemies, the loot, and everything is balanced to your level.
I think that's awesome, actually, and I love as well that if you wanted to go to the classic option, if you wanted to play Borderlands the way that it was, you still have that availability. I think that's great. But I wanted to touch on what you're mentioning here, the ability to, jump into someone's game who may be a lower or higher level than you and be scaled to that level. Can still my friend who's a level 20 pick up a level 20 weapon and drop it for me at that level, or will it drop and scale down for me?
I'm not exactly sure how that works, but I don't believe that we're allowing that to happen. But there's still more things that we're trying to do. We're trying to tighten up and get those different details and polish things in as we head towards September 13th. So we'll see what comes about that.
And then just branching off that a little further, is trading going to come back in Borderlands 3? Can I trade items with friends or just trade currency with friends in the game?
Trading is in the game.
Awesome. I'm very happy about that. Another thing that I wanted to ask, a little story related. One of my favorite games within the Borderlands family is Tales from the Borderlands, and I have noticed that you guys are definitely utilizing characters from that game here in Borderlands 3. Was it important for you to kind of mesh those worlds? Did you want to bring in those characters, or did it just kind of work within the story that you were developing here?
So we absolutely love what Telltale was able to do with those games, right?
Yeah.
And we know that the fans and the community and everybody really loves, everything that went into creating those characters and their personalities and all of those different things. So we wanted to make sure that there was a place for them in the universe going through Borderlands 3. And so what you get to see is, you saw Reese, right? So Reese is doing some pretty funny things there, and maybe there's some more that you get to see down the road.
I hope so. I hope so, because I love Tales from the Borderlands. I'm just glad to see at least Reese is in there, because he's my favorite of the bunch. I also wanted to ask, so now this is technically the 4th game in the Borderlands franchise. Borderlands 1, 2, pre-sequel, now Borderlands 3. And each and every time, there are billions of guns. Does it ever get a little difficult to kind of figure out something creatively unique with Borderlands 3, or it was always easy and just fun to be sitting in a room with a bunch of people, strategizing or figuring out new ideas for weapons?
So, contrary to what people say, game development is not easy ever. So, easy is not the word I would use. But at Gearbox, we have this really tight-knit culture where everybody's opinion and everybody's ideas matter. So we could be in meetings and someone says, oh, hey, what about this thing? Or you could be walking down the hall and, somebody from art can talk to somebody from effects, or somebody from QA can talk to somebody in design and talk about different things and different ideas that they have. So think about having a building full of hundreds of people who all have ideas if you ask them about a specific thing. So it's kind of like that. We just kind of take what we can, play with it, do what we can do, and at the end of the day, you get to see cool stuff like tracker darts, or guns that blow up and then it MIRVs and then that's a homing thing, or same thing with the grenades or the bouncing gun. Did you notice that it was saying out, 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 stuff like that. I don't think anybody said, hey, this is what we should do, but that comes from iteration and seeing different things. It'd be like, oh, that would be cool if, we have a lot of those conversations.
Yeah, the gun with legs is just pure genius. I also love too that you can shoot multiple of them. So what I was doing is I would just shoot a couple of bullets, reload, and I would have 5 of them on the field.
Each other and then jump into it.
It's fantastic. It is fantastic. One of the huge features as well in Borderlands 3 is, going beyond Pandora. Now we get to explore other worlds. So, with that, obviously we're going to see some new biomes, some new areas. We got to see a little bit of this city that's built by the Atlas Corporation. So how unique can it get in terms of the new biomes and the different environments that we're going to be able to explore?
So it gets pretty unique, right? You've seen a lot from the different trailers that we've had, or the showcase video that you guys just got to see. So that there's lush jungles, and there's kind of, caverns and temple-looking places.
Stuff that I don't think we've ever seen in a Borderlands game.
Right. And then, of course, the city area, or the Meridian Metroplex, I believe is what we call it, in the demo that you guys got to play today. And that is very different. We're used to a lot of browns and tans in Pandora. And then, of course, in the pre-sequel, we went up into space. But, being able to see different versions of city and, lush and, rocky and different things like that is it's a pretty good variety.
That is awesome. I cannot wait. Borderlands 3, if I am correct, September 13th, 2019 is when you guys can get your hands on it this year, which I'm so happy to be even saying those words. And you can pre-order, I believe, to get the gold weapon skin pack. Is that correct?
Yes, correct.
So actually, just the one last question. Are we going to get more weapon skins in this game? Or are we going to be able to customize our weapons?
Great question, and yes.
Awesome.
If you notice, what the weapon skins do is they make it to where you take that weapon skin and you can apply it to literally any weapon that you pick up throughout the game. So it's not like, okay, I have this weapon skin and I can put it on this one gun. It's, oh man, I really love this gun. Well, I have this gold weapon skin. Now it's golden.
Sweet. So any weapon skin that I get can be applied to any weapon that I obtain. That is awesome. But that's it. I've been Caboose. You can follow me on Twitter and Instagram at CabooseEK, and you can subscribe to the Collider Games channel for more gaming coverage. And if you enjoy this video, a positive rating would be appreciated. I've been Caboose, and I'll see you guys later.